Hi YouTube. I'm sorry it's been a while that I haven't posted. I've just been extremely busy and I've been trying to catch up on the Johnny Depp trial. I am sitting here, I am having breakfast, and in a few minutes I'm gonna go watch That Umbrella Guy because he has one of Johnny Depp's friend, Greg Elliott. They're going to live, so it's coming up really soon. So I just felt like before I listen to That Umbrella Guy's, you go to his channel and watch that this morning. This is what I made for breakfast. This is a staple that Caribbeaners, I'm from the Dominican Republic. We make it in my country. I know Puerto Ricans do, so Spanish people do it, like more in the islanders do it. I know West Indies do it. We call it Johnny Keke. The West Indiesers, I believe they call it baked flour or something like that, or baked. And I'm having it with coffee and cream cheese. Let me show you. So this is how it is. We fry it. I'm having it with my cream cheese. It tastes really good with cream cheese if y'all haven't ever tried it with cream cheese. And then on my Keurig, I made it with some coffee. So I'm going to do one of those, come chat with me. So, and also I want to also make this video just to show, just to tell you a story. This is why I'm so heated with Amber Heard. Hold on a sec. Let me get a little knife. Back. I'm trying to open my cream cheese, but why I'm so pissed off at Amber Heard is because she's giving us victims of domestic violence and sexual violence a bad rap. You know how hard it was. I have my story, and history repeated itself twice. I have my daughter. Oh, this cream cheese doesn't smell good. I might have to. Yeah, it doesn't smell good. Oh, I might have to eat it with butter. It's fine. I'll eat it with butter. Hold on a sec. So mad. Cream cheese smells rancid. Oh, I have this one. Is this one any good? I'm hoping. This one smells good. Yeah, I had another one in my refrigerator. Yay! Back to what I was saying. I'm very mad at Amber Heard because she's giving real victims of domestic violence and sexual violence a bad name. And I want to come in here and tell you and share to you my story of domestic violence. I was with my daughter's father. And mind you, at that time, I pretty much graduated high school at the time. I was like, and I was going to college. And I was born in 1980, and at the time I was barely 19 years old. And my daughter's father was a year younger than my mother. He was old enough to be my father. When he took total advantage of me, barely legal, and he had me estranged from my parents. Now, I had to flee that. I had to flee that relationship because he was financially, emotionally, physically, any kind of spiritually too, because there's different forms of abuse. He did all of them. You name it, he did it. He wanted me. I was very independent before I met him. I worked. I took care of myself. I had my parents, yes, but I worked. And I earned my wages. He, in turn, pretty much wanted me barefoot and pregnant and at home. So I was dependent and relying on him. What took me the courage to leave was when he took a knife to my throat. He was a left-handed. So he held his knife with his left hand, and on his right hand, his less dominant hand, he covered my mouth. So I wouldn't scream. I had 2 cut marks on my throat. I had bruises all over me. He was keeping tabs on me, keeping recordings of me because he thought that I was bringing someone in and he wanted to record me. It was horrible. Completely horrible. So, that was the last straw. And I pretty much said to myself, I didn't really want to get involved with another guy. So I stayed single for a long time. And I met my sons, because I have 4 biological kids. My 2 daughters are from my first relationship. My 2 boys are from my other relationship. My son's father did pretty much the same thing to me. Hitting me, hitting my kids. He hit all 5 of us. There was not one of us that didn't get his rap. Kicked me on my stomach, slammed my head where I have my tinnitus because he busted my corcula in my ears. So I have constant ringing in my ear. I went to an audiologist, which is an ear doctor. My ear doctor, which is in Edison, New Jersey, which is the JFK hospital, they have a unit where specifically for that type of stuff, said eventually I would go deaf. And she said, don't be surprised if within 4 years if you go completely deaf. And that was from the abuse that I got from my ex. So, and both of them pretty much, whenever they wanted to have intercourse, I was pretty much forced to have intercourse. Now, mind you, I love my sons. You guys saw in my older videos of them. I love them to death. They're not mistakes, because kids are not mistakes, but I didn't want any more kids. After I had my 2 girls, I told my ex-husband I didn't want any. He forced me to have kids. Now, mind you, he doesn't take care of them because he owes me over $4,000 in child support. But I was abused. And I was also molested by a relative. So for Amber Heard, and I don't want to get into too much details because it is family, and at the end of the day, I'm mad and I don't really go to be around that person. But when you have someone that's fabricating stories, it's appalling. And a reason why I know she's lying is I can't even look and stand to have my abuser look at me. It makes you cringe. It makes you feel like they're undressing you. You feel naked. So for Amber Heard to sit there and say, "Oh, he can't even look at me," why would you want this person that supposedly abused you to look at you? I don't want none of the people that abuse me. I don't want them looking at me. I don't even want to be around them. And then for her to sit there and say and put a TRO on him, a restraining order, but then demand to see him. That makes no sense. I don't want to see my abusers. If I never see them in my life, I would be happy. I don't want no engagement. I block them. They can't even, I don't want them contacting me. So for her to want to keep having exposure, that's not something that a domestic violence victim wants. And then she's talking about, what I was entitled to, the money. And she wanted money. If I didn't have my boys, and if it wasn't like something that I was forced to do, like the judicial system told me, even though he abused you, he's still responsible to take care of those two boys. I just want to be done with them. I want to move on with life. And like I said, if I never see them again, I would be happy. Like what Amber Heard is doing, she's completely undermining us victims, what we had to go through. I have nightmares. And not only that, but my sister had a best friend when we used to live in Randolph, which is in Morris County, New Jersey. She had this friend, and her friend had an older sister, and her older sister violated me. And I wake up at night and I'm in a sweat. I still have flashbacks. I can't even have anybody standing behind me because I have to be in charge and in control of my peripheral. Like I flinch when my sons try to give me a hug. I'm not an over emotional person. I'm not a huggy, touchy feely thing. My husband wants to show me affection and I push him away because a lot of times I'm like I flinch. So for her to be like that, it doesn't make any sense. And then her promiscuity too. I just find it kind of odd. Like she cheated on Johnny. Johnny's abusing her, but she cheated on Johnny. And what was said was she had 30 plus men and people coming in and out. She had, because if you saw the full deposition of one of her ex-friends that no longer speaks to her, Josh, he clearly admitted to Amber Heard having a threesome with Cara Delevingne and Elon Musk. I was sexually accosted. Get away from me. Get away from me. I don't want it. Like my husband's like, when are we gonna get intimate? And the word intimacy is supposed to be something that's fulfilling for an individual. But for me, the word intimacy, I equate that with the trauma that I had. And I shouldn't have to go through that. And like anything that's sexual or anything that has that sexual condensation or whatever, however you want to put it, or quotation or whatever, anything that's in that type of thing, it's cringy for me. I know I shouldn't have to. I have a husband and I want to please him and I want to make him happy. But for me, it's hard. And right now I'm still going through sexual trauma. I have, the place that I go to is in my local town that I live in. And I also have this organization that I speak to and, but I just completely think it's just outrageous what she's doing. And I just can't believe that she still has supporters. And I want to be transparent here. I don't know if those are bots or those are fake accounts, but if you check her Twitter account, it is growing. But I don't know if she's paying to have these followers, but she does have a stand. She does have a cult following. She does. And I just don't understand how people could actually still think she's completely truthful. And how people believe her. The proof is right there in the pudding. It's completely obvious. So I just wanted to sit there, and I know Johnny's probably not going to see my video, but my heart breaks for him. And then like the testimony yesterday, and like the deposition that they were doing like these past 2 days, they were describing how Johnny was before he met Amber, and the duration why he was with Amber, and then afterward. Like, he's been sober now. It's been like how many years now that they haven't been together? He's sober now. He's cleaning up his act. He's dressing better. His demeanor is like he's coming back. He's coming back to the old Johnny that he was. And then when they were dating that, like the disposition, and they were saying why he was with Amber, he was dark, and he was in a dark place, and he was really depressed, and he didn't really want to like he wasn't really engaging and stuff like that. Those are signs, because I was the same way. And my abusers, they isolated me, both of them. Like my girls' father, my boys' father, they didn't really want me to talk to my family. Like they wanted to keep my family like outcast. Oh, it was okay for me to hang out with their family. Like my girls' father actually moved me away from Jersey. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia for over a year. He pulled me away from my family, my comfort, because that's a way for him to control me. Oh, you're in Georgia now. You're with my family. You don't have a support system, and he didn't think I was gonna flee the state of Georgia and I was gonna move back up here. I took back my power. So and then my boys' father did the same exact thing. It's like history replayed itself. Where he wanted to isolate me. Oh, we only pretty much went to his family's function, and anytime my family had something, it was like it was an issue or something, like, you know. So Amber doesn't exhibit the characteristics of somebody that's been abused. Like, it's just, I know everybody has their ways of coping with things. I get it. And no, not two people are the same. But I've been through I was in a women's battery shelter, and I was speaking to women that were in the same type of abuse of me, or on some form of abuse, and even males I've witnessed. People that were abused. And when I speak, they're like, oh my God. And they're like, I thought I was alone. I thought I was the only one that did that. I'm like, no. And when we talk, it's the same thing. Like, it just feels totally the same. It's like the same exact, it's like even when they're talking, because it's like we're in a circle and we're talking, and when they're saying their story, it's like I feel like I'm the one saying it, like, like I'm the one that's like, it's like, and then I'm like, I'm pulled back, and I there's times I'm like rubbing the person's back, and I'm like, but I say, can I? Because it's triggering, like people that were abused like me. Like, I just don't like people just touching me without like telling me, like warning me, because I just go like that. I'm like, when I shake, I'm like, you could have told me. So before I, talk to somebody that's been in that situation, I'm like, can I? And they say, oh yeah. And I pat them in the back, and I'm like, I feel you. I want to give you a hug, but I just don't want to. I want to give you your space, and I ask for permission. It's like something that is ingrained in me now. And it's something from the traumatic event that I went through. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I asked even my husband, like, I asked him for permission. I'm like, can I please? Is it okay if I give you a hug? Oh, can I give you a kiss? Because that's me. Like, I just feel like I want to do that. I want that person and myself to feel like we're on the same page because of what happened to me. And my husband has his own harrowing event of what happened to him because he was a victim too. And he had some of the, my husband is like almost like the same way. Like he loves me and he wants to show affection towards me. But when he's telling his story and then I'm telling my story, we're like, we could relate to each other. I think that's why we kind of are together because we kind of like understand each other. He's a little further along because he's gotten the sex therapy sooner than I have. It took me a long time because I just didn't want to talk about my thing because I was still having like really bad nightmares. So it took me a little bit longer to loosen up. But now that I'm able to like be a little bit more loose and talk about it, I'm actually like able to say my story. And it wasn't even that. It was just like they wanted to like, both of my exes, it was like kind of funny because it's like the abusers always, like, you know, like the victims have like the same characteristics, but it's like the abusers have the same characteristics. Like my girls' father, my boys' father, they wanted to see me intoxicated. It's like, what, is there like a meeting? Is there like a meeting of like they go in the same meeting and they like, and it's like, what do they have, like a pamphlet? Like, this is how you are as an abuser? Is there like an abuser, anonymous like hotline for like abusers? You know what I mean? It's like funny because it's like they wanted me intoxicated. It's like they wanted me drugged or drunk or something like that, where they wanted me in that situation. So they're better to take advantage of me. And it's like funny because it's like, this is why I'm saying like history repeated stuff. I was with my girls' father. I left him because the stuff that he's done, like if I went into details, like like the video first, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notified of my future videos, and write in the comment section if you want to if you want me to make a part 2 of it to get more in detail. But I just don't want this video to be so long. But like the stuff that I was submitted to was just like heinous. My mother, like for my boys' father, he beat me. I had bruises. My mom saw me and she even told my new husband now, like when I saw my daughter, she was unrecognizable. Like she saw me when he bruised me up and hit me. And my mom, like, my mom absolutely didn't want me to with him. And she says, I don't want him in my house. Like, I don't want him nowhere near my house. So it's just real heinous. It's real heinous. You know, it's like my family practices a different religion, and my daughter's husband pulled me away from that religion and wanted me to do like a Baptist, his religion. My son's father practices a different religion and he wanted me to do this religion, but my family all practice a different religion. So it's just like, even like, this is what I'm talking about, even the spiritual abuse, they abuse me. They're like, oh, no, you're not doing that religion. They didn't respect my religious belief. So my daughter's husband, he was like more Baptist. He was in a congregation. I don't even know why he was in there, because he wasn't following his religion's standards. And my son's father, he was Islamic, but he wasn't even following the Islamic religion either. And he wanted me, he made me convert into Islam. He forced me. So it was just like spiritual abuse. And when I was more drawn to like the religion that I wanted to practice, it was just like, it was completely a no. Financial abuse, they wanted me pregnant because my girls' father gave me 2 girls. And if I was still with him, I would have been like having 17 kids. And my son's father gave me 2 boys. And if I was with him and I didn't tie my tubes because my mom was in the hospital, she's like, my daughter's tying her tubes, and I'm making sure she doesn't leave this hospital without it. And that's why my mom told me, you go to Morristown Memorial Hospital. Over there, they do that. And they make you do it before you go home. But if my mom was in there and put her foot down for me, I love my mother. She stood her ground for me, and she protected me as a mother. I would have had like 50 million kids right now, and I would have been in a worse situation. So, they wanted me barefoot and pregnant and at home. So I couldn't work. So I could be more dependent and reliant on them. So that was the financial abuse that they gave me. Sexual abuse? Oh, you're my wife, or you're with me, you're my girl, you better give it to me. I'm the man. You're supposed to please your man. Then they would proceed to like buying liquor and stuff like that. Oh, trying to get me drunk so then they could go and I'm not in my 2 senses, so they could take advantage of me. And physical, if I didn't do something, I was kicked, I was slapped, I was pinned onto the floor with his hand in my mouth, and then he's with the knife and going like that. Thank God I pivot myself, because if I kept it, he would have went in there and I would have had one of my arteries on my neck. I would have bled to death and I would have been dead. God was with me that I was able to release and get out. Slammed my head on the wall, kicked me on the back, threw me up against the bed, punched me in my mouth where I couldn't eat hard. I couldn't bite an apple. I couldn't bite on a corn, because when he punched me so hard that my teeth were like loose. I had to go to my dentist, and he was I had to eat like soft foods until like he said that eventually it should get like, he said that my teeth would finally get hard eventually. And he told me certain foods to eat to make my gums stronger, and eat a lot of iron and protein, like foods with protein drink. He told me about this protein shake, drink a lot of protein. And he says that your body, human body is designed to reheal itself. So I had to do a lot of healing. Finally, it's stronger now. Thank God. But it was horrible. It was completely horrible. So, it's more in depth in my cycle of abuse. So this is why my stance is, and I'm, Team Johnny, and I've always been Team Johnny, and I knew from day one he was innocent. And the reason, Amber, he doesn't want to look at you is because us victims, we don't want to see our abuser. But I really don't want to, I just want to cut it like that, because I'm just worried that I'm going to have a nightmare tonight. I didn't really get much sleep yesterday. I started getting like anxiety. I was having like anxiety attacks all night yesterday. So I just don't want it to repeat itself tonight. So, Amber, do us all a favor. If you want to salvage your career, just come clean and say, I am sorry. Own up to your diagnosis, the histrionic personality disorder, and then the other one, like these two diagnoses that Dr. Curry told you. I think she's very professional. Just own it. I suffer from mental illness, and I own it. So own it, apologize, make a statement, and say, I'm going to do better, and you're going to get help. If you want to salvage any semblance semblance of your what you call a career. If you want to get help, because I feel as though anybody could redeem themselves, and anybody could get help, and anybody could fix. You know, people, we all make mistakes and everything like that. But I just feel as though, woman to woman, please come clean. Like, stop the charade. And do us all a favor. I'm gonna leave you guys like that. I'm gonna eat my breakfast. I'm gonna go and watch the video from that umbrella guy. Check it out. Umbrella guy. I really like his channel. I love you, and you have a good day. Bye.